Don't be left behind. Join the new normal of digital world. Let radio and television be at your fingertips. Get news and current events, entertainment, sports, kiddies programs, and more at your beck and call on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Just visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all social media platforms. Then you are a global citizen. Al-IyamoyeTV and radio. Voice of the voiceless.
It is essential to be up to date on happenings around you, and to make that easy for you, ladies and gentlemen, we present Freshlight, where we bring fresh newspaper headlines to the limelight. Mondays to Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Watch, like, subscribe, and make sure your notification is activated on our YouTube channel. You can also like and comment on our pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. A beautiful morning to you, the 21st day in the month of September 2023, and I'm sure it is going fantastically well on the other side of where you're watching us live on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. And of course, we'll hope for the best and we'll be hoping for better to happen, but reminding ourselves that when doing the right thing, doing good is the order of the day, definitely the society will be a better place to stay for every one of us. All right, so welcome to Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. And a Freshlight will take you through some of the headlines and stories we have in our dailies to keep ourselves updated and abreast of information and happenings around us, and of course even outside the country, Nigeria. Welcome to Freshlight once again. My name is Modupe Akinyosoye, and as usual, I have some of the newspapers with me this morning. I have the Daily Trust newspaper, I have the Nation newspaper, I have the Vanguard newspaper, and I have the Punch newspaper with me this morning. All right, let's kickstart. Without further ado, we start with the Punch newspaper. Let's get to see what we have on the front page of the Punch newspaper. You got to see Tinubu's academic record. APC tackles Atiku as US courts grant ex-VP's request. You have that with double riders on page 2 in the Punch newspaper. Away from that, also from the front page, you get to see police declare 24-hour curfew as tribunal sacks Kano governor with a rider that says shots short. NMPP supporters protest, and governor heads for appeal. You get that on page 11 in the Punch newspaper. And also on misconduct on the front page of the Punch, Ondo Assembly begins process to impeach deputy governor. Then on page 7 in the Punch newspaper. Also, you get to see Naira tumbles to 980 Naira per dollar. Forex shortage worsens. You have that business story on page 21 in the Punch newspaper. Mohbad's wife seeks Falana's intervention. Ekiti Assembly demands justice. You also get the details of that on page 4 and 5 in the Punch newspaper. On strike, NLC ultimatum ends today. Federal government allays fear. That on page 20 in the Punch newspaper. And also from the front page, you get to see Lagos road collapses after downpour. Residents groan. You also get to see that with a picture right on the front page of the Punch newspaper. On page 5, details you get on page 5. And quickly going through the pages of the Punch newspaper, let's start with this very story from the Punch. Let's start with Tinubu's academic record, and this says APC tackles Atiku on United States courts, grants ex-VP's request. With double riders, PDP, Atiku's aide commends United States courts, say Tinubu's academic record will be unveiled soon. No cause for alarm. Atiku's case an exercise in futility. President has nothing to hide, says APC. The All Progressives Congress on Wednesday ridiculed the efforts of the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar to obtain the academic records of President Bola Tinubu from the Chicago State University, United States, describing it as an expedition in fertility. The ruling party said it had nothing to fear, as the president had always boasted that he had nothing to hide. And this came as Judge Jeffrey Gilbert of the U.S. District Court for Northern District of Illinois ordered Tinubu's alma mater to provide all relevant and non-privileged documents to the applicant, that's Atiku, within 2 days. On Tinubu's academic record, APC tackles Atiku as United States Court grants ex-VP's requests. You have that in the Punch newspaper. Away from that, we have a report here from Adeshino revealing that Buhari regretted some of his decisions as president. Former President Muhammadu Buhari's special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adeshino, said on Wednesday that the ex-president regretted some of the decisions he took while in office and felt he could have done some things better. According to Adeshino, who spoke in Osogbo on Wednesday, such is normal for any human being. The ex-presidential spokesman was a guest at a program tagged Media Dialogue with Femi Adeshino, organized by the Association of Veteran Journalists in Osun State. And he said before Buhari left office, he had a 2-hour chat with him, during which he asked all manner of questions. Buhari regretted some of his decisions as president, says Adeshino from the Punch newspaper. And let's take this business report from the business page of the Punch newspaper. Naira tumbles to 980 per dollar, forex shortage worsens. The Naira continued its downward trend after exchanging to the dollar as 980 Naira per dollar at the parallel market on Wednesday. A week earlier, the Naira exchanged to the dollar at 950 per dollar. And Bureau of Change operators who spoke to the Punch attributed the fall to scarcity of foreign currency. A BDC operator, Idris Musa, said, and I quote, "We bought and sold the Naira today at 965 Naira per dollar and 980 per dollar. The dollar is not even available." From the business page of the Punch, Naira tumbles to 980 per dollar and forex shortage worsened. Away from that rather uncheering news, let's quickly take a quick trip to Morocco, an African country, with the Punch newspaper. Morocco to spend $11.6 million on earthquake recovery. The King of Morocco, Mohammed VI, has stated that the nation will spend $11.6 million, that's 120 billion dirhams, to rebuild parts of the country hit by the September 8 earthquake, BBC report. And while stating this on Wednesday, he said the money will be used to support more than 4.2 million people affected by the disaster. The palace said on Wednesday that the funds would be used to rehouse affected people, reconstruct homes, and restore infrastructure over a 5-year period. The 6.8 magnitude earthquake killed more than 2,900 people and injured over 5,000 others, the strongest recorded in a North African country in more than 60 years. Morocco to spend $11.6 million on earthquake recovery. The Punch newspaper had to punch that out this morning. Away from that, let's come back to Nigeria, specifically the Gateway State. And we have this report: Ogun pledges support for She Farmers Initiative. The Ogun State chapter of the She Farmers Initiative has been launched as part of efforts to support female farmers. The Permanent Secretary of Ogun State Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Samuel Adeogun, who was among the officials of government that witnessed the occasion, commended the initiative and promised that government will connect them with opportunities within the agricultural sector. He reaffirmed the commitment of the Ogun State government under the leadership of Prince Dapo Abiodun to improve the livelihoods of its citizens and deepen their involvement in agriculture. From the Punch, Ogun pledges support for She Farmers Initiative. Away from the Punch, let's get to see what we have in the front page of the Nation newspaper. All right, picking up the Nation newspaper, we have this very story, headline rather, on the front page: Plant strike, NLC keeps federal government in suspense. You have that with double riders. SGF ministers meet with VP Shatima. Labour state chapters waiting for go ahead. Page 5 captures the details of that very story. Away from that, on Dangote refinery, we will take off with crude from NNPCL. You have that report on page 61 in the Nation newspaper. Ondo House steps up moves to remove deputy governor. You have that update on page 6 in the Nation newspaper. Away from that, Nigeria's solid minerals deposits worth $700 billion, says Alake. That on page 6 in the Nation newspaper. Ogun plans trial for suspected Shagamu cultist. Page 59 captures that story. Oluremi, my wife, friend and partner, says Tinubu. You have to get that. Wonderful write-up. With a writer, President celebrates First Lady at 63. You have that on page 5 in the Nation newspaper. Of course, with a picture of the First Lady, Senator Oluremi. Away from that, also from the front page of the Nation, Tribunal voids 165,000 NNPP votes, sacks Kano governor. This comes with several riders. The details on page 4 in the Nation newspaper. And also, shareholders accuse Amcon of depleting Arik Air's fleet from 19 to 2. Page 6 captures that very story. And also, you get to see the picture of President Bola Tinubu and also some members basically at the United Nations Assembly, right on the front page of the Nation newspaper. All right, away from that, let's get to see the stories we have in the Nation newspaper. We'll start with the plant strike. NLC keeps federal government in suspense with double riders. SGF ministers meet with VP Shatima. Labour state chapters waiting for go-ahead. Nigeria Labour Congress NLC has kept the government in suspense hours to expiration of its 14-day strike notice. The strike plan, according to the NLC, is to express displeasure over the painful effect of the removal of petrol subsidy by the federal government. Although the federal government has given 2 billion naira each as first installments of the total 5 billion naira to states for purchase of food items and fertilizers for Nigerians as palliatives for the subsidy pain, the government has also announced other cushioning measures. But the NLC is not persuaded. It carried out a 2-day warning strike which recorded mixed compliance. And yesterday, Minister of Labour and Employment Simon Lalong and Minister of State, Employment and Labour Nkirika Onyejeocha met with Vice President Kashim Shettima on the proposed strike. From the pages of the Nation on planned strike, NLC keeps federal government in suspense. Away from keeping in suspense, we have this story as well. Let's take a trip to Edo State with this very report. Obaseki allocates Shaibu's office and government house to Alagboda. Edo Governor Godwin Obaseki has allocated the office of his deputy, Comrade Philip Shuaib, in the government house Benin to Alagbodaro as secretariat. And this is contrary to Obaseki's claim of renovating the one-story building. Alagbodaro Benin catchphrase meaning progress or moving forward is an annual investment drive by Edo State government, which is Obaseki's initiative. Obaseki allocates Shaibu's office and government house to Alagbodar. You get that in the Nation newspaper. Away from that, we have a statement credited to the CJN of Nigeria. Political cases consuming our time. CJN Ariwola lament. The increasing number of pre- and post-election cases is consuming the largest chunk of the time available to court. Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN Olukayode Ariwola, has lamented. Ariwola said the development did not only confirm the belief that Nigeria ranks among the most litigious nations on earth, but it has exposed the judiciary to constant scrutiny. He, however, said that in spite of the pressure on courts, judges and justices must redouble their efforts to meet the expectations of litigants. Political cases consuming our time. CJN Ariwola laments from the Nation. And also from the Nation, we have representatives pledges commitment to Nigeria and people House of Representatives member from Northeast Southeast Federal Constituency in Edo State, Al-IyamoyeTv Okoje, has said he is committed to the service of his country and people. The lawmaker, who chairs Committee on Petroleum Resources Midstream, noted he is addressing the needs and concerns of the people. And speaking on his first 100 days, Okoje said on resumption in office in June, he hit the ground running with the facilitation of projects and programs. From the nation, Rep pledges commitment to Nigeria and people. When taking this story from the entertainment page of the nation, nurse who treated Mohbad arrested, says Iyabojo. Actress Iyabojo has claimed the nurse who treated singer Mohbad at the hospital before his death has been arrested by the police. She disclosed this while giving an update on the ongoing investigation into the death of the singer following her visit with some team members to Lagos State government offices. Ojo mentioned some other people have been asked to turn themselves in to the authorities on the matter, and she further implored the Justice for Mohbad group to give the authorities the stipulated time frame to carry out their duties in unraveling the circumstances surrounding Mohbad's case. From the nation, nurse who treated Mohbad arrested, says Iyabojo. Alright, we'll continue with more headlines and stories on Freshlight after this short commercial break. Stay with us. Still Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio.
Thousands have been disappointed severally in their bid to see greener pasture abroad. To those quack in the traveling agency business, it is a rocket science. That is not our case at Tausaf Travels and Tour. We have in-depth details on how to successfully, without stress, help you process and secure your visa to anywhere in the world. Do you want permanent residential visa, visiting and tourism visa, student visa to places like Europe, America, Asia, Africa? It's no big deal to us at Tausaf Travels and Tour. Our years of experience and expertise speaks volume for us. Let's process and secure visa for you to UK, USA, and Canada within a twinkle of an eye. We offer Hajj and Umrah services to our Muslim faithfuls. What are you waiting for? Consult us at number 9 Tausaf Central Mosque, Sholanke Street, behind Laroy Hotel, Abiola Way, Abeokuta. 0802 733 0900 or 0806 578 4060. Stop wasting money. Pay for peace of mind. Talk to Tausaf Travels and Tour.
Gbogbo aláfẹ́ tó gbayì tó fẹ́ wọṣọ yìí ṣoge tó bágbàmú ló ń kọjá lọ sí House of Zion. House of Zion, the name I know when we talk of top-notch fashion, quality materials and class. House of Zion, lẹ́tí máa rójúlówó Turkey wears, Egypt and Malaysia clothing, Dubai, àwọn designer bags lóríṣiríṣi, àwọn ìtẹ̀lẹ̀ bàtà tó jiná tí wọ́n fawọ́ original ṣe, àwọn aago kájọ́ tó ń ka wákàtí ọjọ́, designer sunglasses and perfumes, pẹ̀lú àwọn gbogbo nǹkan tóbìnrin àsìkò fi ń gbafẹ́ lò gbà. Mo débẹ̀ ojú mi ń ṣe kámi, èmi ni ó rà, èmi ni ó mú. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin mùsùlùmí ẹlẹ́sìn tẹ́ gbòógè gbọ́n pa fashion tẹ́ wá nílò jàlábíà, hijab àti àbáyà lóríṣiríṣi. House of Zion lẹ́ò ti rí gbogbo ẹ̀ rà. House of Zion wà ní 52 Ọlọ́run ṣògo road adjacent Redeemed Church Agape Parish Ọlọ́run ṣògo Abẹ́òkúta. Lórí Instagram House of Zion 08165688618. House of Zion, ilé ìtajà tá a ti ń tojúlówó aṣọ àti nǹkan aṣaralóge tí ń gbéni níyì.
Thank you so much. This is still Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio, and still perusing the pages of our newspapers this morning. Let's pick up the Daily Trust newspaper to get to see what we have on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Kano Tribunal sacks Governor Yusuf, declares Gawuna winner. With triple riders, government imposes 24-hour curfew. Business owner closed shops. NNPP to appeal. APC applauds verdict. Away from that, also we have United States Court orders varsity to release Tinubu's academic records. You have that on page 10 in the Daily Trust newspaper. 5.2 trillion naira remitted to Federation account in 6 months. RMAFC, revealing that on page 19 in the Daily Trust newspaper. Ondo Assembly moves to impeach Deputy Governor and alleges misconduct. Page 10 also captures that very story. Subsidy back as federal government pays 169.4 billion naira in August. You have that on page 3 in the Daily Trust newspaper. Naira crashes to 970 naira at black market. Page 19 captures that. IGP others clamp down on killers of security operatives in Imo. Page 7 graces that story. On ground rents, allotees besiege AGIS, FCTA rigs in over 1.9 billion naira in days. Page 22 captures that very story. And let's get to see what we have in the Daily Trust newspaper. All right, we'll start with this very report right here from the Daily Trust newspaper. Subsidy back as federal government pays 169.4 billion naira in August. Despite the numerous assurances by President Bola Tinubu that the subsidy is gone, Daily Trust finding shows that the federal government paid 169.4 billion naira subsidy in August to keep the pump price at 620 naira per litre. And there have been several reports suggesting that the current price stagnation, despite the worsening exchange rate and international crude price crossing $95 a barrel, suggests a return of subsidy. A document by the Federal Account Allocation Committee, FAAC, cited by a reporter of the Daily Trust yesterday, showed that in August 2023, the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas (NLNG) paid $275 million as dividends to Nigeria via NNPC Limited. And NNPC Limited used $220 million, that's 169.4 billion naira at 770 naira per dollar out of the $275 million to pay for the PMS subsidy. Then NNPC held back $55 million illegally. The revelation by FAAC effectively indicates that the subsidy is back and NNPC is now taking NNNG dividends to pay the subsidy. From the Daily Trust, a story that rather seems shocking: subsidy back as federal government pays 169.4 billion naira in August. Away from that, let's see what we have in also. Okay, this is also a business report. 5.2 trillion naira remitted to Federation account in 6 months. RMAFC. A total of 5.2 trillion as accrued to the federal account in the last 6 months, the Revenue Mobilization Allocation of Fiscal Commission has disclosed. In a press statement issued yesterday in Abuja, the RMAFC chairman, Mr. Mohammed Bello Shehu, noted that the figure was captured in line with the reports by the Federal Account Allocation Committee, FAAC. You get that in the Daily Trust. 5.2 trillion naira remitted to Federation account in 6 months, says RMAFC. Away from that, we also have from the Daily Trust newspaper. Let's quickly take a trip out of Nigeria. Niger's Bazoum appeals to ECOWAS court to free him. The coup-toppled president of Niger has appealed to the West African Bloc's court to free him, his lawyer said on Wednesday. Mohamed Bazoum was overthrown by the military of July 26 and has been detained at home with his wife and child since. He filed a lawsuit with the courts of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, on September 18, said his Senegalese lawyer, Seydou Dihan. The lawsuit invokes his arbitrary arrest and violation of freedom of movement, the lawyer said. Niger's Bazoum appeals to ECOWAS court to free him. From the Daily Trust newspaper. And back to Nigeria, let's landing in Kano State. 24-hour curfew declared in Kano. A 24-hour curfew has been declared in Kano State following the judgment of the Election Petitions Tribunal sacking the state governor, Abba Kabir Yusuf. Commissioner of Police Mohammed Husseini Gumel, in a statement he personally signed, and said a combined team of security operatives have been dispatched across the city to enforce the curfew. 24-hour curfew declared in Kano. The Daily Trust newspaper captured that story, and also giving an update from the entertainment page of the Daily Trust on Mohbad case. MTV Base, another radio station, banned Malian songs as protests spread abroad. An international music channel, MTV Base, has banned the playing of all music associated with Malian music, a record label owned by street singer Aziz Fashola, popularly known as Naira Marley. The ban was imposed amid growing protests over the death of singer Ilerioluwa Promise Aloba, also known as Mohbad. Mohbad died last Tuesday after reportedly receiving injections for an ear infection and was buried in Ikorodu, Lagos the following day. The sudden burial raised suspicions among many due to the fact that the singer was not a Muslim. Naira Marley and music promoter Samson Balogun, also known as Sam Larry, were accused of complicity in the incident. Several television and radio stations have banned hearing of materials from the Malian music label. From the Daily Trust on Mohbad, MTV Base, another radio station, banned Malian songs as protests spread abroad. Away from the Daily Trust, let's get to see what we have on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, which will be a last newspaper, but not the least, of course, this morning of Freshlight. From the front page of the Vanguard, pressure on petrol and diesel price as crude hits $97.17. You have that with several riders. Page 5 captures that story. Electricity metering, NERC orders discos to refund customers. You have that on page 19 in the Vanguard. Also from the Vanguard, curfew in Kano as tribunal sacks Governor Kabir Yusuf. You have that on page 13 in the Vanguard newspaper. On Mohbad, celebrities, youth and fans storm Lagos, Osun, Delta as protests enter day 2. You have that on page 6 in the Vanguard newspaper. Tinubu to announce wage award next week. TUC revealing that on page 9 in the Vanguard. And killing of security operatives, IGP blows hot as residents recount ordeal in Imo. Page 11 graces that story. Federation account receives over 5 trillion naira in 6 months. RMAFC also reported that on the front page of the Vanguard, on page 8, getting the details. Political cases taking monumental toll on judiciary. CJN lamenting this, also resurfacing on the front page of the Vanguard, page 9, as that very story. And also, you get to see Sanwo-Olu Elumelu at hunger. That's United Nations General Assembly. I get to see the picture also of Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and Tony Elumelu Foundation, Mr. Tony Elumelu, during the TEF Breakfast Roundtable at the 78th Hunger meeting in New York yesterday. You get to see the picture of them. And also you have a sport headline. I am happy Osimhen stayed at Napoli. Pesero revealing that on page 39 in the Vanguard newspaper. And also you get to see a big picture of Tinubu, President Bola Tinubu, and King Abdullah II Al Hussein of Jordan during a bilateral meeting as a sideline event at the ongoing 78th United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, in New York yesterday. All right, away from the front page, let's dig into the pages of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. All right, we'll start with this report right here from right from Lagos State with the Vanguard newspaper. The story says Oshodi Apapa Expressway gridlock, commuters groan as Sanwo-Olu and Port Police look on. We have that with triple riders. Sanwo-Olu's aides set to inspect situation in Axis. Menace avoidable, AIG Akim Osfall. Truckers commend Vanguard over extortion report. The horror caused by the perennial Oshodi-Apapa Expressway gridlock continued yesterday, with the traffic now stretching to the second Rainbow bus stop. Commuters wailed as the task force set up by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to clear the traffic and Port Police appeared helpless. More than 1 week ago, Governor Sanwo-Olu directed the Lagos State Special Committee on Apapa traffic to clear the gridlock within 24 hours. So far, the directive has not been carried out. Meanwhile, truckers under the aegis of Council of Maritime Truck Unions and Associations, COMTUA, have commended Vanguard newspapers overnight investigative report detailing extortion point along the Oshodi-Apapa Expressway and environs, describing it as true and verifiable. Oshodi-Apapa Expressway gridlock, commuters groan as Sanwo-Olu Port Police look on from the Vanguard. Away from that, we have on presidential poll this report that says Abuja can't be 37th state. Atiku will be tell Supreme Court. With several writers say 25% in FCT mandatory. Asks Apex Court to nullify Tinubu's victory. Insists PEPC judgment perverse and miscarriage of justice. INEC didn't transmit result electronically. Why we are at Supreme Court's Labour Party. Away from the riders, determined to nullify the election of President Bola Tinubu, candidates of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and his counterpart in Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, yesterday lodged separate appeals before the Supreme Court. The two candidates in their appeals prayed the Apex Court to set aside the judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Court (PEPC), which affirmed Tinubu of the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) as the winner of the February 25 presidential election. From the Vanguard on presidential poll, Abuja can't be 37th state. Atiku Obi tell Supreme Court. And away from that, we have also a report from the Vanguard that says Luth denies late doctor worked 72-hour call duty. The management of the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Idiaraba, has denied allegations that one of its house officers, Dr. Michael Umar, died after a 72-hour call. This is contained in a statement issued by Luth management team in Lagos on Thursday. You have the rest of that in the Vanguard. Luth denies late doctor worked 72-hour call duty. Away from that rather cheering story, on palliative, work days reduction will hurt economy seriously, Labour and employers warn. One of the ad hoc measures adopted by government to cushion the effect of petrol subsidy removal is the reduction of work days from 5 days a week to 3 in the critical appraisal to the measure. The Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC), Trade Union Congress of Nigeria (TUC), the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, and NECA, and Chemical and Non-Metallic Product Employers Federation have faulted the policy, warning that it will seriously hurt the economy in the long run. Speaking, President of NLC, Joe Ajare, said, and I quote, "The reduction in the number of days of work from 5 days to 3 days may seem a great gesture by the government, but we make bold to say that it is a Greek gift laden with dangerous intention." End of quote. The rest of that in the Vanguard newspaper on palliatives. Work days reduction will hurt economics seriously, Labour and employers warn. And also taking this from the entertainment story of the Vanguard, of course, these get to be in all our newspapers and in all our dailies at the moment. On Mohbad's death, celebrities, youth and fans storm Lagos or Osun Delta as protests enter day 2. As controversy continues to trail the death of singer Iliri Oluwaloba, popularly known as Mohbad, protesting fans in Lagos, Osun and Delta State took to the streets yesterday to demand justice. And on Tuesday, hundreds of protesters rallied in Abeokuta, Ogun State, and Akure, the interstate capital, seeking justice for the late singer. The Afrobeat singer died last Tuesday, age 27, under what many term mysterious circumstances, prompting the acting Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Egbetokun, to order a thorough probe by the Lagos State Police Command. And protesters came out en masse in some areas of Lagos State, with one of the protests starting from the Alagbado axis of AIT Road and moving to the command area, then to Ilewe in Mero. The rallies went on amid tight security, with at least 4 police patrol vans loaded with armed officers accompanying the protesters. From the Vanguard on Mohbad, celebrities, youth and fans storm Lagos, Osun, Delta as protests enter day 2. And let's quickly take a sports story from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. From the sports page of the Vanguard newspaper, we have this very report right here. Super Eagles drop in latest FIFA ranking despite Sao Tome and Principe route. And of course, the details revealing that Super Eagles of Nigeria have dropped a place in the latest FIFA rankings released on Thursday. This comes after Jose Peseiro side trashed Sao Tome and Principe 6-0 in their last fixture. The result, however, turned out not to have any positive effect on their position on the ranking table. The 2023 Africa Cup of Nations champions were previously ranked 39th globally, but now placed 40th. The 40th. And the Super Eagles, however, maintained 6th position in Africa. The Carthage Eagles of Morocco remains the top-ranked team on the continent. From the sports page of the Vanguard, Super Eagles drop in latest FIFA ranking despite Sao Tome and Principe route. And that'll be all at Freshlight this morning on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Thank you so much for always watching. And of course, you can follow us on our social media platform, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. On Facebook at Al-IyamoyeTv Radio. On the X platform at Iyamoye_TV. And on Instagram at IyamoyeTV. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Al-IyamoyeTV and radio. And turn on your alarm button to get more notification when we have, of course, more program for your listening and watching pleasure. I remain Modupe Akinyosoye. Thank you so much. Good morning once again.